What is really the Buddha's concept of happiness? Many people, especially in the Western world, think that the Buddha's teachings hold a pessimistic view of life. Is that really so? They would quote the Buddha as saying that life is suffering, and they would say that life is not all suffering, there is also happiness. This was probably because the core teaching of the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths, addresses the truth of suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the way to end all suffering. They think that the Buddha's teaching is all about suffering. Also, for many, the concept of happiness is the gratification of the self or of emotion. This gratification depends on satisfying what is desired or averting what is not desired, both of which are external factors. One of the key realities in life is that everything in the world that depends on conditions for its existence is impermanent. This includes any material things that we may have gained, or fame, our praises, our pleasure, and even our body. The intellectual part of our mind knows this to be true. It knows that impermanence is part of nature and affects us impersonally. Also, what is impermanent will eventually bring unhappiness. The problem is that the emotional part of our mind tends to deny this and be in constant conflict with reality. It wants all good things to last forever. This is why some suffer when they lose their jobs, or are shamed, or are blamed or wronged, or are in pain, or maybe dying. We tend to cling to relationships with impermanent things, including our own body, personalize them, and are unwilling to accept their true nature. In fact, this emotional mind is what creates the concept of a self and our selfishness. The Buddha calls this conflict between the intellectual mind and emotional minds vicikiccha, or what psychologists today call cognitive dissonance. This is one of the 10 fetters that binds us to suffering, as taught by the Buddha. Therefore, the Buddha pointed out that lasting happiness does not come from gratifying the selfish emotion through seeking external stimuli which are impermanent. It can only be achieved through living in harmony with reality led by the selfish intellectual mind. This is when our mind is peaceful and pure and no longer disturbed by selfish emotions. This is the Buddha's concept of happiness, which I think the right definition would be joy. When we have gained this wisdom, we are already on the first path of the Noble Eightfold Path. My teacher translates this path as the harmonious perspective, or in Pali, Samma Ditti. So, is it true that the Buddha's teachings hold a pessimistic view of life? What do you think? Let me know.